I am going to do my July wrap up. Yay, finally. So I don't really remember how I even do these videos, so I'm just gonna talk about the books that I read, the books that I hauled, talk about the movies that I watched, and go over like my bullet journal a little bit. So I think that's all that I am interested in talking about. I will say that I usually do. That's it. I usually do like the giveaway winner from my previous month's wrap up, but I'm feeling I think like a little not overwhelmed, but like I'm feeling kind of constricted by that because I want to make sure there's enough time for people to enter the giveaway. So instead, I'm just going to be posting my wrap ups. I'm going to try to film like all of them today and post like at least one a week. um, just so that I can like get them out and done, and then I'll do like one video with giveaway announcement or like giveaway winners at the end of those videos. So it'll be for June because I had a giveaway in my June wrap up: June, July, August, September, and October. And so hopefully all of this will happen before the end of November, or if not, at the very beginning of December. So, anyways, you want to hear about the books that I read, eh? I mean, I hope so, because if not, why did you click on this video? I'm going to start first with the three things I don't remember because, it's been a long time. And yeah, so the three things that I don't remember are these guys. Congratulations, by the way, by George Saunders. This is a transcription of a graduation speech, I think, that he gave. Don't 100% quote me on that. Yes, well, a convocation address at Syracuse University. So whatever. But yeah, I know that I liked it. Oh, I guess I should like have up how many stars I gave things to. Oh well, we're just not going to do star ratings for this video. I definitely liked it when I read it. I love George Saunders. I think he is brilliant. And this is really sweet because it has like text on one side and then these images of stars. So I think it's just like a nice little thing that, I can easily read again in a minute if I choose to. And then another tiny thing that I don't remember because it is tiny is The Breakthrough by Daphne du Maurier. I was just kind of flipping through it and I do remember the plot vaguely. It has to do with like a scientist going to this place and then, something to do with like life after death or trying to communicate with spirits possibly, but like in a scientific way. I did also enjoy this, but I just don't remember enough of it to like rank it, I guess, with the rest of my books. But yeah, and it is because it's so small. I feel like there's like a really sweet spot of how long it takes for you to read a book. Like if you read a book too quickly, you don't really remember it, but if it takes too long, then you get bored and like also don't remember. So there is a sweet spot. I just haven't found it yet. And the other thing that I don't really remember is the Paris Review, 227. This is from winter of 2018, and that's because it's an anthology, and so I don't really remember. I was also kind of flipping through the fiction pieces, and I do remember them a little bit. I'm really upset because I used to have a little like Word document where I would write down authors that I really enjoyed from anthologies like this because I do subscribe to lots of literary journals and lots of magazines, and so I'm introduced to lots of different people. And it's not like George Saunders or Kurt Vonnegut or Margaret Atwood or Octavia Butler where it's like you have the name and you know who the person is because I'm just getting introduced to like such a small piece of their work. So I used to have a list of authors that I wanted to like further investigate after reading, but I stopped doing that for some reason. So now I guess whatever. There's plenty of books behind me that I don't need to be investigating these other people. But I know like Brian Washington was one of them. He had one of his short stories was in an issue of the New Yorker that I read, and then he had his short story collection that came out, and I think he has something else that's just come out recently too, possibly. So I would like to keep track of that, but at this point, who am I kidding? All right, so those are the things that I don't really remember, so I'm not going to talk about them too much. And most of the rest of the books that I read were for the BookTube Prize, so I'm going to link below my reviews when I get to them. The first thing that I've got here is a DNF, A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell. I talked about this already in my BookTube wrap-up. I will link below. I like timestamp it so that if you click on the link, it'll send you just to like where I'm talking about this book only. But yeah, I just thought this writing was horrendous. Not for me. I'm just not into it, which is unfortunate because you would think that this would be interesting. The untold story of the American spy who helped win World War II. Like, that sounds pretty juicy, but I just am not going to read that. I do not care enough. Life is short. All right, and then my next least favorite thing is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. Yeah, I just thought this was kind of boring. Again, I talked about this in the BookTube prize wrap up, so I'll link below where I'm talking about it. It is super fat, and it is a quick read, so at least that. And it's not that it was bad, it's just like, I just don't care enough. Like, if it were my choice, I would have never read this book. I didn't DNF it because, again, it was a pretty fast read, so I knew I would be able to, like, finish it, and it wasn't, like, torture, but, and I think I mentioned this, too, in my BookTube prize wrap-up, that I would read short pieces by this author, but this book was just too much. Next, I have The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. This is the month that I finished The Luminaries, guys, which really helped boost my numbers with regards to page count. Wasn't that nice when I finished this book? Can we all just remember the beauty that was? It was great. Yeah, I really liked this. I think I gave this 3.5 stars. You know, I feel like everyone has talked about this because this book is like 30 years old at this point. Not really, but you know, everyone knows about this mystery set in Australia during like the gold rush time. And yeah, I really liked it. I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it, even though it took me so long. The next 3 books that I have are basically amazing, so it's kind of hard to pick. But I have No Visible Bruises by Rachel Louise Snyder. This is, I think, should be required reading for high school students. I think that everyone should read this book. This is one of the books I thought that I underlined and highlighted while I was reading, which is nice. I guess not a ton. Some of the stuff is like anecdotal, so I'm not going to be like highlighting a person's trauma, but you know, when she gets into like more of the fact stuff, it is really interesting. I also talked about this in the BookTube prize wrap up, so I will link that below too, but must read in my opinion. So good. Then I've got They Called Us Enemy by George Takei, and so good. It's Nonfiction November too, guys. Read this book if you haven't read it. It is a graphic memoir of George Takei, who I feel like at this point is like a cult figure. Like, he is very, very famous and well known and well loved and well regarded. Like, he's just a wonderful soul. Oh my gosh, sorry. Woo! He's so great. And this is such an interesting graphic novel because, I mean, first of all, you start crying immediately because there's horrible people being, like, just so horrible. I don't know how else to describe it other than, it's just, it causes me a lot of pain to watch people be mean and just disgusting. And there's a lot of that. Like, so at the very beginning, before they get sent to the concentration camp, let's just call it what it is. It's a concentration camp. Before that part, there's like the whole section where they're still kind of like out and about, but like, you know, the white American, I don't know why I'm putting white in quotes, the white Americans are being like super racist and really shitty to the Japanese Americans that are in this country. And that part was just like so rough. It was really hard. And then you get into the part where they are being put in the concentration camps and, you know, even their travel and stuff. And it's just so interesting because you're experiencing it from a kid's perspective. So like, he doesn't really understand the depth of what's going on. You know, it like, you know, he's just like a little kid, like having fun and like, you know, it's a game, like da-da-da. So like, you see like this really like just wild juxtaposition between like a kid just like having an adventure and living his life and like this trauma that is like happening to him at the same time, but like that he's not like fully aware of at all times. I mean, some of the times he is, but I don't know. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then of course it ends with like kids being put in cages because that's what the government is doing at this time. So must read it if you haven't read it, please. It's so good. And then my number 1 book of the month is Know My Name by Chanel Miller, and I'm so happy. I'm pretty sure this is the one that won the BookTube prize. I never did like a wrap up of my last books, but whatever. This was so good. I will link below my video talking about this book too. I just thought it was perfect. It made you feel every single thing. Obviously, there are trigger warnings. I still think that it's worth it though. There's no like explicit, like the thing that is the most triggering is not like what the bodily violation was, but like the mental and psychological violation that was done afterwards, trying to like make her think that like nothing happened and like trying to cover it up, and like the shaming and all of this stuff, like that was like the more triggering and horrendous part of this book, at least from my perspective, in my opinion. Obviously everything that happened to her was horrible, but like that to me was just like, what is wrong with people? Okay, what is wrong with people? Yeah, so good, and like also strangely hopeful. Like, I don't know, I know that there are some people, like everyone has different levels of sensitivity and like what they can handle and what they can't handle, so I'm not trying to like push or impose something on you that you think is not going to be beneficial to your soul, because I don't want you to be unhappy, but I find a lot of joy in reading things like this that like show and prove like how strong I'm gonna start crying, how strong Chanel is, how strong her family is, like the whole like familial relationship, and like how much trauma there is on her sister too, because her sister kind of like didn't let it happen, but like her sister was there, so like the guilt that the sister felt, because like what if, like I feel like all of us that have family members or like loved ones that have had something bad happen to them always think, what could I have done to stop this? And it's just like another like layer. There's so much hurt in this book, but there's also so much love and like so much hope, and I just thought it was so perfect, and I loved this book so much. Okay, so no more tears. We'll see. Theoretically, no more tears. Okay, so those are all of the books that I read in the month of July, and then now I'm going to go over the books that I bought in the month of July. So I'm going to start with a stack of books that I bought together that I should have already put together, but I just wanted to start with these first because I bought them because of that Paris review that I mentioned. So in the Paris review, there is a poem, and I know I'm not like a big poetry person, but I guess I really liked it, by Robin Coste Lewis, called Self-Care, and I don't really remember what the poem was, but it's pretty short, so I'm just gonna read it really fast. Hopefully there's nothing inappropriate in it. We'll see. All right, Self-Care. While watching a movie with a lovely, unyielding, well-founded black female character, the 10-year-old says, "Mom, I love you." Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's just like my mouth. The 10-year-old says, "Mom, I love how fierce black people are." He's read 36 graphic novels in 2 days. I don't know how to parent him. I only know how to protect him. My intestines gorge red, warm. I smile at him, pretend. I don't feel this green leaf of relief, a leaf because he's managed somehow not to hate himself, me. A girl's neck was slit yesterday. Every day we watch her die on the platform. So, oh gosh, yeah, just like rereading that, like that poem is just like so good. So I like, looked, and she has a poetry collection called Voyage of the Sable Venus and Other Poems, and I think, and don't quote me because I didn't look this up before I started this video, but when I was kind of looking into her, it mentioned that that like a section of the poems were named after different paintings that had like black women in them. I think, I really wish that I had looked it up, but I just thought it was such an interesting concept that I was like, I loved that poem, so I had to go out and buy it, but this is like not in print anymore, so, and I don't refuse, I give money to Amazon if I like absolutely have to as a last resort, but I do use AbeBooks, which is owned by Amazon, so I don't like to purchase from AbeBooks, but I do use them as like a search function. So I type in the book that I'm looking for because they have like used booksellers and different indie stores across, this is for the US only, I'm sorry. So it shows, and then I found a bookseller that had this book, and so I went to their website and purchased it from them directly, but also they had a bunch of the Paris reviews that I didn't own, so I was like, whatever, let's add them to the cart. So I got issue 136, which is fall of 95, with a kitty cat. 123, which is summer of 92. 134, which is spring of 95. And 151, which is summer of 99. So, things happen. I wasn't buying these 2 books because they're so expensive. So I read the book Platitudes by Trey Ellis, which I will hopefully insert a picture of here, and I love this book so much, and I feel like I hear no one talk about Trey Ellis, and the problem is that his books are really expensive. So I bought the other 2 books of his that I didn't own, but they cost like $22 each, but I was like, screw it. So yeah. Anyways, the first one is Home Repairs by Trey Ellis, and look at that cover. And then the other one is Right Here, Right Now by Trey Ellis. So I'm super excited. Obviously not excited enough to have read them already, but I've been in a massive slump this whole year basically, so whatever. And then the other book that I purchased was in the same kind of vein, is Telephone by Percival Everett. I read Glyph, which is about like the really smart baby, and I just thought it was absolutely hilarious, so I purchased this one for me. But then, you know what happened is that I'm part of like this thing where I get books sent to me. I'm subscribed to 2 Literati bookstore in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and then also Finney's bookstore in Seattle. And, well, guess what book I got from the Literati? Awkward. So, I'm going to be giving one of these away at the end of this video, or like in a minute when I'm done talking about the other books that I got. So, yeah, I got this from Literati. I guess it's a new release, and I just didn't realize, you know, because I don't pay attention, but I should. So this is a Grey Wolf Press. This is from Grey Wolf Press. So, you know, that's cool. Then I did another little order. I don't even remember where I got this. This is another poetry collection. I don't remember how or why I bought this, but I was in a book buying mood. Vivas, To Those Who Have Failed by Martin Espada. This is poetry, and I literally have no idea why I purchased this. I wish I could tell you, but I have no idea. Then I got Fiebre Tropical, and this is by, I don't know how to say, Juliana Delgado Lopera, or Lopera. I don't know. This is a feminist press book, and Doris from Aldi Books read this for our indie press project and made it sound really good, and I was looking for books that, like, you know, were by Latin authors, I think. Then I have my book club, and I think, like, just coincidentally, because we vote on the books like way ahead of time, the book was The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, and I did not finish that book. It's in my cart. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to finish it. But we were talking about stuff, and then I was bringing up my family and how, like, religious they are, and how, like, I don't know. It just got kind of complicated, the whole conversation. But one of the other girls in the group mentioned this book, and so I was like, oh yeah, great. It's The Color of Compromise by Jemar Tisby, and it's the truth about American church's complicity in racism. So I'm really interested in reading this, but again, I guess just not enough because I still haven't read it. So those are all the books that I purchased, and then Jake got a couple too. Mostly for school. I forget like what exactly his project was, but I think it had to do with colonialism and art and stuff like that. So there's 2 books. The first one is Orientalism by Edward W. Said. And this was surprisingly on my list that I have. Like, I have a little a Word document where I just kind of like as a catch-all for books that I've heard about. And this was on there, and this book looks so dense. There's so many words. And yeah, I'm very curious to read this. And then the other one, this book is so gross. It's very used and abused. But this is Hybrid Cultures by Nestor Garcia Canclini. I really need to start looking these up before I do these videos, but you and I both know it's not going to happen, so I should just stop talking about it. But it's strategies for entering and leaving modernity. So it has something to do with like Latin America. That's as far as I've gotten, but it is definitely used and abused. And this author is actually Argentinian, so I put this on my list of like Argentinian books for January for our Around the World reading project, Invisible Cities project thing. So, but we'll see if I read it because I think it's like pretty textbooky and dense. So those are all the books that I bought or that entered my life. Let's say what books I'm giving away. Do you guys want to do that? So obviously my favorite book that I'm giving away is Know My Name by Chanel Miller, but it's really hard because I kind of want everyone to read They Call Us Enemy too. So, but this is the one that I want someone else to read. So if you want to enter to win a new copy of Know My Name by Chanel Miller, let me know in the comments below. And I'm also going to be giving away these two because I just don't want them. I don't want them in my life. I want them gone out of my house. So A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell. I think some people liked it. And this one, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. And I think Olive put this on her 10 favorite nonfiction books list. So someone likes it more than I do. And Olive does. And I feel like everyone loves Olive. So, do that. And then also, I will be giving away this unread version of Telephone by Percival Everett that I purchased, that I have touched, that is in my house, but it is new and unread. So those are your options. I'm giving away 4 whole books in this video, y'all. That's, a thing. If you want to enter, though, you have to, again, tell me specifically that you want to enter to win. If not, then I am not going to enter you into a drawing. Please, if it's one of the books that I own, US only. So if you're international, you can only enter to win this one, please, because, the shipping cost. All right, so oh my gosh, my computer is falling asleep because I've been talking for so long. I'm almost done, I promise. My July, look how cute. I obviously didn't pay attention to checking off any days in the month of July, but that's okay because I've got this cute little hedgehog snail, and I put a fun little chill sticker there. I don't know if I did chill. Probably not, but that's okay. And then I've got I did pretty good in July with regards to reading, I think. Especially towards the end because I was trying to read those damn BookTube prize books. And yeah, you can tell that I did the majority of my reading at the end of the month, the last 2 days. I'm worried Robert's not going to let me participate again next year because of how much of a procrastinator I am. And then I failed with is this the first month that I did my habit tracker like that? I don't remember. But I like the habit tracker like this, split up into habits. It just takes a lot more work to make it. I haven't even made it again. It's already the 11th of November, so I'm probably just going to skip it this month. But I do like it visually like this better. And then do I have anything else in here? No, I did nothing. Wow, I didn't use my bullet journal at all. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. That's pretty sad. I spent a bunch of money at Collage and they sent a little card, so I put it in there. And then here's a list of podcasts that I want to check out. That's it. I didn't use my bullet journal besides that. So for my book balance, I ended up with adding 4 books to my shelves and only 599 pages. So that is pretty good. And that is it for my bullet journal. My bullet journal keeps getting fatter and fatter. I love it so much. All right, so now I'm just going to talk about the movies that I watched really fast. I watched Hamilton a lot in the month of July. I only wrote it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, but I think I watched it at least 8 times. Some of those were in the same day, and I didn't know if it would count it, so I just didn't put it in there. But yeah, I became mildly obsessed with Hamilton. I'm in love with Daveed Diggs. I love him so much. He's so wonderful. But anyways, so most of the other movies besides that were just movies that I watched with my my little online group. So we watched Mad Max Fury Road. I woke up late, so I missed the first 15 minutes of this movie, but it was super fun. I gave that 4 stars. Really, really great. Then we watched The Motorcycle Diaries, which is about Che Guevara. I don't even know how to say his name. That's kind of sad. But whatever. So it's kind of his life, right before he goes to become part of is when he's a doctor, and then he does a motorcycle ride through South America and then discovers how terrible people are treated. super cool. And then The Farewell, which I've since rewatched. That one was so good. That one, the director, whose name is Lu Wang, her grandma has cancer, so this is kind of like a retelling of like her own little like family kind of stuff that's going on, where she is Chinese American, and her like her grandma still lives in China, and her grandma has lung cancer, and the family's not telling her because that's just like not what they do in China. Like they think that knowing that you have cancer is what like leads to your death, not having the cancer. So they like pretend to do a wedding for the other cousin that's moved to Japan. So like there's two brothers, one moved to the US and one moved to Japan, and so they're doing like this fake wedding just so that everyone kind of get together to like say goodbye to the grandma without the grandma knowing that anything is going on. And I just loved it so much. And it like talks about all these different like, sorry, you know, like morally, like it's just morally questionable because yeah, like it is wrong to not tell someone like their own health condition, but at the same time, like they're protecting her, so it's really complicated, and I thought it was beautiful. I really loved that movie. Then we watched Francophonia, which I don't really remember, I'll be honest. I should rewatch that one. I remember that it was very fact heavy, and that's all I remember. That while I was watching it, I was like, oh, I don't know anything that they're talking about, so I should rewatch it. Another one, also, I will say it is difficult because we're like texting and chatting, and so you kind of miss a little bit of the movie because of that. So you have to be prepared for that. Then we watched Mary Queen of Scots, which was really great. Also, I think I need to rewatch that, but the acting was incredible. The cinematography was beautiful. It was just like a beautiful movie about something that I don't really know very much of, and I still don't really know very much of. Then we had two rewatches for me, Amelie and Midsummer. Love both of them so much. I don't think that I need to talk about either of them because all of y'all know what they are, I hope. Then Hamilton again. Jake and I watched a couple of horror movies towards the end of the month. We watched The Slumber Party Massacre, which was terrible. I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't mind watching crappy horror movies. I feel like that's kind of fun, so I didn't mind. And then we watched Z, which was more boring. The Slumber Party Massacre was fun because it was a slasher flick, so I feel like there's a lot more like ridiculousness, like it's over the top kind of thing. But Z was just kind of boring because I feel like it was really obvious. My review says it was just fine. I also gave that 2.5 stars. I also said that the sound mixing was terrible. I don't remember, but obviously that's something that leaves your mind. And yeah, so most of the plot was pretty obvious, but I did scream at the jump scares because I scream at jump scares. That's the kind of person that I am. So I love those kinds of movies where you're scared at jump scares, but like the overall movie is kind of boring. Just kidding, I don't actually love them. So anyways, that's all I've got for ya. 30-minute video coming your way. If you've read any of these books, let me know. If you've read Trey Ellis, let me know. No one else has read him that I know. I made my friend read Platitudes because I loved it so much and she loved it too, but like I feel like no one on BookTube talks about him. I think he only has the 3 books and that might be why. And again, they are like 22 books for a paperback. That is... I wasn't into it, but I did it. It's too late now, Mom. Don't come after me. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.